Here's second gear again, let's go. 9,000. 9,000, look, I'm just struggling to keep my head held up. Oh my goodness, a downshift. And then we're gonna put the foot down. Oh my God! Car pulls like a freight train. I'm just scared to go sideways. A little bit. What's up everyone, welcome back to Miami Miles. My name is Mickey. In today's video, I'm gonna tell you why you should buy the 812 Superfast. In my opinion, that is the single greatest modern Ferrari in existence. And honestly, I always forget how great it is. It wasn't until a couple weeks ago when I was on the track with Timepiece Trading, Neel gave me the keys to his 812 and it absolutely blew my mind. And that brought back all of the memories of me comparing the 812 against the Aventador S. And every single time I drive one of those cars, I just want to go to Auto Trader and pull the trigger on one. The question for me is, should I trade a couple of my cars to get one? And I think this video is going to answer that question. But for you guys, those of you in the market for an 812, a car around $310,000 to $350,000 in today's market conditions, should you buy one? I think the answer is yes. So anyways, in this video, I'm going to show you why. Let's get right into it. Reason number one, it's the greatest driving V12 on sale today. Now, obviously there's an 812 comp, F12 TDF, all of these cars that are millions of dollars, but I'm talking about within reason, nothing comes even close. As a matter of fact, my first epic video on this channel was an 812 against an Aventador S. I wanted to find the best V12 on sale at that point, and during that time, both cars were around the same value. It was like 450 to 500 grand. So you could have either one, and I rented both from MPH Club. I think I paid like $6,000 or $7,000 to experience that video for that day. And my takeaway was this: the Aventador S was the better looking car, but it was a piece of shit driving compared to the 812. And I know all of you Lamborghini fanboys are gonna be up in arms. You're gonna say that's not the point of the Aventador, but if you're a person that likes driving, you're a person that enjoys cars like these, you'd prefer the 812 all day. Here's why. This car is so comfortable in its softest settings. Right now it's in sport mode. It's got the bumpy road mode on, and honestly, it absorbs bumps like the best daily drivers of all time. I am blown away. Honestly, this thing could be driven by my wife or my grandma every single day. The thing that I don't like that much is the fact that it's actually quite quiet. You can't really hear that V12 resonate into the cabin as much as I would like. That's, it's nothing that an exhaust can't fix, but I wish from factory it was just a little bit louder. But guys, you guys don't come to Miami Miles for drives in comfort mode. So what I want to do is I'm going to take this little finger here, switch the Manatino to race, and then we're going to downshift into second gear. Oh my goodness, a downshift. And then we're going to put the foot down. Oh my God! The moment you put your foot down, you are hurled at the horizon at such speed, and you can feel as the traction control is trying to reel in your two rear tires, keeping you from spinning off into the sidewall. Now, I read in Ferrari's press release that this thing can execute 3 downshifts in a second. Let's give that a shot. So we're in 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd. Yep, that sounds about right. Boom. Foot all the way down, 9,000. 9,000. Now, if we calm this down, put it in a calm mode, upshift a few times, put it in auto, the car becomes a civilized human being. It's no longer somebody that's gonna get itself into trouble. It's no longer a car that's gonna rip your face off. And just by flipping this, putting it in manual, giving yourself a couple downshifts and putting your foot down, you encounter what is perhaps the best car in history. So hopefully that drive conveyed to you why the 812 is the best driving V12 on sale today. Holy shit. It was like having the best sex of my life and doing it 9 times in a row. By the end of that drive, I felt drained, but I kept thinking to myself, wow, this is the single best I've ever had in my life. I was actually here in my house with my wife, and instead of having sex that night, I was like, bro, let's go drive the 812 again. And the funny thing is I had both the 812 and the Aventador S parked side by side The Aventador S looks miles better, but I took the keys to the 812 and drove it for hours. So after that experience, I completely forgot about the 812. I'm not gonna lie, I got the 765 and my supercar budget was spent, and I was so happy to experience that vehicle. And it was a couple weeks ago when I was able to drive Neel's 812 from Timepiece Trading. He threw me the keys and said, take it for a few laps. Bro, that shit was crazy. Here goes my money. So we found ourselves in the 812. Thank you, Neel. Never thought I'd be driving an 812 on a racetrack. So right away, the car feels a lot bigger than the 4RS. Turns in well. I have not gotten on the power because I'm terrified. Let me upshift there just in case. I'm not gonna get on the power until straightaway, which is right now. Whoa! That's different. Oh my God, it does feel heavy on the corners, but it handles well. Car pulls like a freight train. Awesome feel through the brakes. Incredible gearbox. Bro, for how big this car is, this is shocking. Oh! Okay, we're still going sideways. Let me straighten it out. All right, that's a big number. I'm just scared to go sideways. So I'm not taking advantage of the cornering ability at all. All right, foot down now. Let's see how the grip is. All right, now I'm getting a little more comfortable with the car. Definitely capable on track. It doesn't feel like a 4RS or the 720 that we drove. It feels like a completely different thing, and the all-wheel steer, bro, it just gets you right into the corner.
What do we think?
You look at this thing, you sit in it, it feels huge, but this thing will demolish a racetrack. Never would I have thought that an 812 can handle, turn in, grip like that. The engine is a masterpiece. We were hitting 138, 140 in the straight. Same sections I was doing about 123 in my GT4 RS. Neel, bro, yeah. It grips. It grips and grips and grips.
Enjoy it?
I enjoy it.
Sounds cool too, right?
I need one.
It's not that, bro, they came down, I think, to the bottom that they're gonna be. I don't see this car ever going under 325, you know? Never.
Bro, for 300 grand, this might be the best bargain ever.
I don't think you can get for 300, can you?
Even 350?
Yeah, it's like 350 is your minimum.
Bro, now you see me drive that 812 both on the road and on the track, and both takeaways from those 2 days is holy shit. This thing is crazy. It is so good. It just pulls at all of my heartstrings, everything about it. And really, I think the last component about why I want one is the fact that it's a Ferrari. It's just that good as a driving experience. And to put this into context for you, let's go over to the scorecard, show you the ratings I gave to the 812, and see where it sits amongst my favorite cars in history. All right, so here we are with my ratings from the tournament series, and I've gone ahead and filled out all of the ratings for the 812, and I've included all the cars I've reviewed thus far in this series. Starting with appearance, I don't think the 812 is the sexiest car in the world. As a matter of fact, an Aventador completely blows it out of the water, but it's good looking enough to get some eyeballs, to get some pictures, and to make you feel special, so I give it an 8.6 out of 10. Next is sound. The sound with an 812 that has an exhaust with an X-pipe, it gives it this pitch, this frequency that sounds like a Formula 1 car, something that only a V12 can give you. I don't think any 812 sounds quite as good as an SVJ, but it's almost right there, which is why I give it a 9.6 out of 10. Next is performance. Holy shit, this car is fast. It's fast. It should be called the fast, not the super fast, because it takes your breath away, and this car does low 6 second and 60 to 130s which, you know, compared to turboed cars isn't crazy, but it's fast enough to make you scared for your life, which is why I gave it a 9.5 out of 10. And it doesn't hurt that the car is actually pretty good on track as well. It turns in good, it brakes good, it's got some downforce. Even though it feels huge, at no point do you feel like it's not gonna turn in. As a matter of fact, I drove that and a Turbo S on track, and it was so much better than the Turbo S. It felt so much lighter on its feet, perhaps because of the rear wheel steer. I don't know what it was, but what a machine. 9.5 out of 10 for performance. Next, we've got gearbox, 9.7 out of 10. And there has been 0 cars in my experience that I've driven that matches a gearbox to that engine in such a way. The marriage is so sublime. Every time you trigger a shift, it feels like a gunshot, and you can trigger multiple shifts at once in milliseconds. And the engine is so responsive, the flywheel is so light that it makes you feel extremely connected to the car. And it's an automatic and not a manual. Nonetheless, it's the highest graded gearbox here in my tournament series. Next is rawness. To be honest, the car is not very raw. It doesn't transmit all the feels. It's very isolated from what's going on in the road. Like, sure, the steering is quick and direct, but you don't get that much feel. The car's so big, it feels like you're riding atop of it instead of within it, which is why I had to give the rawness rating a 7 out of 10. Next is the interior, probably the single nicest interior I've ever been in. When these cars are optioned with the right leathers, with the right carbon, it looks stunning, which is why I gave it a 9 out of 10. Date night. So how good is this car to pull up with your date and take her out to dinner? 8.5 out of 10. It's not a 9 because it's not a Rolls Royce, but it's really comfortable. And when you want to tone it down and put it in auto mode, it feels like a traditional GT car, which is why I got this 8.5 out of 10. Next is value for money. These cars keep coming down in price. It's the same story as the F12, as the 599, as the 575 and the 550 before them. They all go through this period of extreme depreciation where you see cars with stickers at 460, 470, now trading in the lower 300s. So for the money, what else can you buy with that experience, with that V12 and that gearbox for around 300 grand? It doesn't exist. That's why it's an 8 out of 10. Next is long-term investment. How good will this be long-term? Well, I think 30 years from now, it'll be a classic, but I think in the midterm, right, 5 to 10 years, I think it's gonna struggle a little bit until we're completely beyond the NA era of cars and we moved on to hybrid and eventually electric. So I think it's a 7 out of 10, very long-term, especially if you keep the miles down. And last but not least, we've got excitement. The single most exciting car I've ever driven, even more exciting than my Demand GT3. I had to give it a 9.8 out of 10. And this right now, in terms of this tournament series, is the most exciting. Obviously, once we drive a 765, that's gonna come down a bit. I mean, it's gonna be knocked down in second place, but as of right now, it's the most exciting car I've ever driven. And then we go to our totals. You see no other total on here higher than the 812. 86.7, my favorite car of the tournament series is the 812. And guys, that's why you should buy one. It's epic. Amongst the group of new supercars and new cars available in the market, I wouldn't take a lot of cars over the 812. That's the end of the video. The 812, if you're in the market for one, I think they've come down in price to justify your investment, and they sure as hell have come down for me. What an experience on the road, on the track. If it was only a little bit better looking, it would blow every other car out of the water. Perhaps that's what the Revolta will be with the V12 hybridized with the dual clutch transmission. Time will tell if that's the case, and one day we'll do a video on that. Nonetheless, guys, if you enjoyed that video, go down below, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, comment, let me know what you thought about my feedback, and I look forward to seeing you next video.